Hey everybody. Alrighty. In the nick of time. Good morning everybody. Thank you for viewing the other videos. My ticker's going up. I think I'm back in the saddle again. And there's a lot of mob videos there. Like them, share, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff if you feel the need to. But this is about when a CRIP meets a Mad Dog member. Now let's just set the table. Let's set the table. I had to take a little notes because my mind is shot. Because I mean, you know, the gangs of the 50s and 60s, you know, like the West Side Story, the Jets, and all that. But some were violent or innocent, and some were not innocent. They would sing on the corners and doo-wop or do whatever. But as the drugs and power plays started coming into play, well, violence, of course, violence for that money. And I was on the West Side, and I was dating a sister, and another guy was dating me and JR dated the sisters. Well, he was a CRIP, claimed to be a CRIP, but I never heard of a CRIP because it didn't seem like there were any around. They had like names of gangs. Some were like Spanish names. Some were like the 7th Street boys or guys, the 10th Street gang, or certain names. Wasn't just Crip blood or whatever like it is. They were starting up on the East Coast in cities here or there. Just for a little backstory. But so violence, power for the geographical areas, selling drugs. Now you think the North Side would be against the South Side, or the West Side would be against the East Side, which happened. But within the West Side was against the West Side because people wanted that money, and they're selling coke, they're selling heroin, they're selling. Those are the two most that need to be mentioned. But some of the rival gangs would drive by. If you were on the basketball court, somebody would drive by and holler some bull crap out, and kind of childish, more or less. A lot of them, some of them were like Spanish names. I don't know. Yeah. So JR, in the other video I told you, when I was walking down the block and he got shot, his leg was compound fracture, the bone came out and everything, and I scared. He was just crazy, and I didn't like to go out to bars with him. Come on, Joe, we'll go here, we'll go there, and if you can't even play a game of pool with him, like a guy in a bar. You can't play because if you say something wrong, you just have to dodge anything that you might think can cause conflict. And he had already got shot, and he mended, and we're at a bar. And there's bars all over the place, and sometimes different gang members or just people that hung together would end up at some of these bars, whether it was proclaimed to be a 7th Avenue bar or 10th or a Mad Dog or a Crip or some Spanish name. Sometimes they intermingled innocently, sometimes not. So there's a Mad Dog. Now there was a gang, I think it was called the Mad Dog. I think there was even a gang called the Lover Boys. Like, I don't know how violent they were, but I believe that was one too. I heard it somewhere. I don't know. And the guy that shot JR a few months back, one of those members were in there. That was like, I think they were called the Mad Dogs. And they noticed we were with a third party, and he goes, "Oh, they spoke in they were speaking Spanish. They were Puerto Rican, and I started understanding the language real quick, because you could think they're talking about something, but I started understanding what they were saying. I learned Spanish real quick on the West Side. Believe me." And he's saying something, and I can pick up the gist of it. And he's like saying, "Oh, there's one of them dudes, Mad Dog, over there, whatever." They spotted him, and then they looked over, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna leave. I don't want to know nothing." And so he's really touchy and edgy and everything, and because one of those Mad Dogs, Orlando, shot him, and now if you can't get that guy, you just get another gang member, and just like in the mafia, maybe. And so I says, "I got to get out of here." I try to make up a lie, and he's like, "No, no, 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 no." So maybe 5-10 minutes goes by, and the guy comes over. This Mad Dog sees, he says, "Homie, everything okay, blah, 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 everything's, Orlando did that on his own. He didn't get we didn't approve or whatever." He trying to piece it. Tatan, JR, AKA his birth name, Tatan, says, no problem, and everything. And it's getting later. We get ready to leave. Good morning, Vic. And JR's drunk. That 151 rum will knock you and so I see this Mad Dog leave, and at the same time, JR wants to leave. Okay. So we're going up, we're walking, and I says, "Well, I gotta go this way or something," and he was gonna do something with this other member, this third party with us. I get about 20 yards down the street, and I hear boom, 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 like the 4th of July. I run. I don't want to know nothing and everything else. So we go. I go to my girlfriend's mother's house to pick up some food or whatever, late, man. She wanted me to walk her home, but it was late, and it was late. But lo and behold, here comes JR, and he's trying to hide a gun up there, and the mother is really strict, and we were both dating sisters, and we were at their mother's, and so my girlfriend says, "You were with him. What's going on?" Blah, blah, blah. I said, "Oh, I had left the bar or whatever. I left to try to, just play it off." And so before long, they always had the cops and detectives and everything flying around the next day. They're always trying to get information. But they hemmed me up a couple times. I says, "Keep going. I don't know nothing. I didn't see nothing, because I didn't see nothing. I was down the block. I heard firecrackers, and that's all there was to it." Because they were like, when they asked the bartenders and all that, they were like, "Oh, that Italian dude was with him." And there wasn't a lot of Italian dudes floating around. So time goes on, and I says, JR, you should just go to Puerto Rico, bro, and get on out of here. And that's that. He said, no, he said he wants to get the other guy also that shot him in the leg. And I was like, you just don't care about going to prison for life and everything else. And they had now I have to say that there wasn't what you viewers might think is everything just operated by a crew like the mafia or a gang like those definitions. There's just people that did their own thing, and they were their own army. They were their own. They just didn't say, well, I have to belong to this. There were just some Rambos running around the streets, just some Rambos. And I was going down the block or hanging out, and I was getting threatened because I was just, for the mere fact that I was with him when that happened, because they were like, oh, that Italian dude was, I wasn't a violent guy at that. I mark, long time. So just by osmosis, I'm thinking, what the hell? Just because I'm hanging around JR and he's shooting people, he got shot and everything else. And now I'm included in that equation. Just like you can't win. You just can't roll. And any young people out there, that's not the way to go. I was young, I was hustling, I was carefree, but I mean, you don't start none, won't be none. Don't get in it and don't get into it. And so the time JR got lost for a while, and they were getting they were threatening me. In Orlando, that was part of that Mad Dog, whereas, you know, his buddy got shot by JR. And, you know, it seemed like he was surveilling me at times. I'm thinking, what the hell, this guy surveilling me? I would get done playing basketball, or I would leave a bar or a restaurant or something, and he would just be, it wasn't a coincidence. So I'm playing basketball the one day, and he's parked, and he's just standing outside of his car. And every time I look, he's looking at me. So I says, hell with this. The basketball game was over. I go over there. And underneath this guy, Orlando, just like mobsters, underneath, he was kind of like a quiet, good, nice guy. But they just bang, 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 bang. It's just, and I said, bro, man, listen, I'm trying to survive over here. I had gained a little more respect by that time, little more. But I said, he said, what happened? What happened? I said, they were conflicting. One of your boys was pissed off that JR shot that shot you, you know, and so your homeboy was mad at him, and then it led to whatever. And then when the bar closed, or it was just like prime time. And I said, I went down the block. I heard the pops, bam, 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 and that was it. That was it. I'm not hanging around JR no more. That's it. He could get mad. He can get pissed off. I ain't going around. He will fight for asinine reasons, just nonsensical reasons that I could just imagine something went wrong with his childhood or his developmental stages. Like, let's go Freud here. Let's go Freud. You know, the stages of development, his nurturing and nature versus nurture, something got really effed up real quick, and he was just slanted. I had some fun times with him, but it just came to the point is I cannot be seen with him, let alone be in a bar with him. Another time he swung a pool stick at a guy over a friendly pool game, reconstructed his face with a pool cue, and for nothing. for whose quarters were on the table. Really? My quarters were here first. Oh, geez. Well, the other dude's quarters were actually there first, but he just wanted violence and conflict. And he said no. And the other guy said something, and he just, I want to hang around a guy like that. Okay. So, I think on the West Side, they heard like the CRIP from the West Coast. And I think some of them wanted to just use that name because it wasn't like a prominent name for a gang over there or blood. But, I guess it was just more glamorous. But they had different gangs. They had Spanish names and they had different this boys, the something boys, and this gang called these type blank boys, and that, and then you had the street, the 7th Avenue, the 10th Avenue, the Hudson, different. And if you're just hanging out with 2 or 3 people, and you just they might say you're a gang. They're just your friends, but when you're doing illegal stuff, trying to get money, then it graduates to a gang, because now you're running this is the FBI. Now you're running an illegal enterprise with 2 or more, 3 people, and it's a gang or a mafia crew, and it's an illegal enterprise. So I don't know if I really captured the whole story or not, but things chilled out, and JR did get lost, and I wasn't on the block as much after that. I didn't even go down there and play ball or go to a little bar. I was like, nah, I'm going to the racetrack where it's nice and safe, and you sit back, relax, read the race form, and chill out. I'm not gonna be over hanging around no block, and I slowed down selling marijuana. I was phasing out. I was phasing out of there, and there's I'll just tell you right now. And there's times where late night after bars, people get drunk, and there's certain ways you could walk down streets and know you're relatively safe. People get drunk and then they walk by themselves down a rival gang area. And you got some homeboys just hanging out, drinking a 40 bowl, smoking pot. They're just hanging out at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And here comes some rival gang member stumbling up the block, and they're like, and they just beat them down. And I even said one time, hey, enough. What? Come on, guys. What, and then they start speaking, and then, but I was like, geez, come on. The guy looked like he was Italian, the guy they were beating. Guys, come on, get off of him. And then they would retaliate. Then they would just don't have your guard down and be by yourself in some other people's area, because, who wants to live like that? A lot of viewers and subscribers might see these things and say, wow, wouldn't people just choose another? But when you're 3rd generation born into these areas, and that's all you know, and you don't have the resources, or you don't want to obtain a better life, because there are student loans and there's ways to get out of that. You just can't play the violin. Oh, I'm from a poor neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. That's old. Everybody's got a shot. You can go get a student loan, rise up, get educated, and move on out. That's all. Move on out. Get your family out of there. And there were successful drug dealers and everything living down there. And they still had their families and their mother, and they still had their families living there. Go get a house on the suburbs. I mean, it's ingrained in their minds. That's the norm. They don't want to be out in the suburbs in a nice house. You can walk down the street and feel safe. No, but wouldn't you want that for your children? I don't know. But so yeah, they had the gangs more innocent than others in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And then drugs came along. People wanted to sell drugs, increase the violence. And then you had these pockets of entrepreneurs that were identified as gang names and everything, and they clashed. See, it didn't just clash, like I said earlier, the north side, east side, west side, boom, boom, boom. Some of them stayed in their lane. Excuse me. Some of them stayed in their lane. But you got the greed within, say, for example, the west side. You got the greed. We're just not all united west side boys or whatever. You're just not. No, you're like you know that guy over there. He's infringing on your drug sales. No, and that might be your buddy that you went to elementary school with, but they don't care. The dollar trumps any of those positive relationships. You're more committed to Ben Franklin on that $100 bill than your homeboy from first grade and your neighbor. And they want Ben Franklin first. And it's sad, but true. Metallica. So there's some other things that happen. I'll do a couple more of these gang things, but I'm not going to go too far past this 20-minute barrier. So, and then coming up and down some other videos, as far as the mafia and mob is concerned, I'm going to tell you a perverted thing that they would do, whether it started by accident or then they did degrading people that were degenerate gamblers that owed them money, and some of the things that they would do to an individual, which is whacked out and almost perverted. So stay tuned. Coming up, subscribe, share, comment, hit the like button, hit the notification, all these things. My friends tell me, you got to say that, Joe. Well, you folks know what to do. Stay close, stay aware. And, but my ticker's going up. YouTube, I think, has me uncensored now. And, my subscriber ticker is able to increase. So, it's a small thing. There's no fancy introduction. There's no computer graphics. This is it. I don't need all that. You know what? I was going to pursue that and go, I'm not going to get so bent out of it. If you like me, you like me. If you like the stories, you like the stories. That's all. I'm not going beyond that, because at any minute I could get censored again. And why have all that extra energy wasted? So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Victor. These guys been riding with me for a long time. I appreciate that. And you have a good Sunday. Anybody else that comes upon this video, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. And, the strong man, the tough guy is the guy that gets educated, gets a nice job, and supports his family. That's a tough guy. The weak guy pulls out a gun and says, oh, give me your money. That's weak. So thank you, everybody. And I'll see you soon. Have a great day. God bless you all. Thank you.